welcome to the Album Man, and today I'm going to be reviewing Flying Colours' debut album, Flying Colours. Okay, so this is the self-titled debut album from the progressive pop band. Well, I think that's the genre. I'm not quite sure what they really classify themselves under, but it sounds, sort of like that to me. And this was released on March the 26th, 2012. So if you don't already know who Flying Colours are, that's pretty understandable. Then they are an American supergroup who consist of the great Mike Portnoy on drums, the ex-Dream Theater, and had a spell at Avenged Sevenfold and played in Transatlantic, Liquid Tension Project, loads of stuff. In my opinion, he's the greatest drummer who's ever lived, and I know that's a controversial statement, but it's my opinion. So, don't start waging in the comments how he's crap or something, because just my opinion, he's a really good drummer. Okay, then we have Steve Morse on guitar, who plays in Deep Purple now, and he formed the main founding member of Dixie Dregs. Then we have Dave LaRue on bass, and he was also in Dixie Dregs as well. And we have Neal Morse on keyboards, which is interesting. He is from Transatlantic, which is the band that Mike Portnoy was in as well. Big progressive band. Some of the songs like an hour and a half long. All out prog they are. Wonderful, wonderful keyboardist, and also a good vocalist. But he doesn't sing on this album, which did surprise me a bit because I'd heard his voice good. I can't say I've listened to too much Transatlantic yet, but very much on my agenda. And Mike Portnoy recommended for this. They got a guy called Casey McPherson. Personally, I'd never heard of him before. He's a vocalist, and he was from cannot quite remember now. But he's played in a couple of bands, nothing very big, but really he's a pop singer, sort of pop, maybe pop rock you could call it. Singer, I haven't really heard any of his stuff, but the question of course is was Portnoy a genius to get this unknown poppy singer, or did he destroy a band with a huge lot of potential because of this? I mean, if you look at this band, oh no, I remember now, Casey McPherson is from Alpha Rev mainly, that's his most famous band. But, if you look at this band on paper, Dave LaRue and Steve Morse have worked together in Dixie Dregs, Neal Morse and Portnoy have worked in Transatlantic. It all makes sense, except for Casey McPherson. So, let's go through the track listing. Blue Ocean, Shoulda, Coulda, Woulda, Kayla, The Storm, Forever in a Daze, Love is What I'm Waiting For, Everything Changes, Better Than Walking Away, All Falls Down, Fool in My Heart, and last but not least, Infinite Fire. So 11 tracks, comes at a good hour, which is what you want from a prog album. You don't want some half an hour, 45-minute album. That'd be pretty disappointing. So good solid hour, that's nice. And it starts out with Blue Ocean, which is a nice 7-minute song, and this starts out, basically seems to just start out with them sort of discussing the song, or going just, a bit of talking, before it gets into the song with a lovely driving bass with bits of keyboard and guitar over the top, and then Casey's voice comes in. And this is where we find out what this guy's capable of. And wow, I mean, he seriously can sing. His voice, it just suits the song, and it suits every song on this album, to be honest, except for one, but that's because he doesn't sing it. We'll talk about that later. And, I mean, and also the chorus, it's so catchy for this song. It really just does sum up the idea behind the band, this song. It's 7 minutes in length, as I said. It features many prog elements. It features a catchy as hell chorus with great pop sensibility. You also hear how the bands have wonderful guitar, bass, keyboards, drums, vocals. It's just a spectacular opening song. Really, really enjoyed this opening song. And then next we get to Shoulda, Coulda, Woulda. And in my opinion, after this song, it does remind me quite a bit of Muse. It just has a sort of musey vibe to it, in my opinion. If you disagree, that's fine, but just in my opinion, I think it sounds a bit musy. And especially in the chorus, to be honest. And I certainly do like the reference to Quentin Tarantino, wonderful film director. And this is heavier than the last song, definitely. And what the West tends to be, well, most of the West tends to be more prog pop. I'd say this is more going to the rock territory here. But again, another great song, great chorus. I thought this is probably, maybe this and Infinite Fire, probably Portnoy's best drums in this. Really great drums at the end of the song with a real passion. Loved his drums. But then we get to track 3, so yeah, great song, Shoulda, Coulda, Woulda. Then we get to track 3, which is Kayla. And this song, it's beautiful, it's magnificent, spellbinding, stunning. I mean, these are the words that describe this song. It truly is beautiful and sends shivers down my spine every time I hear it. Casey's vocals just shine through this song, and he shows he is a vocalist to be reckoned with, combined with the magnificent crescendo of a chorus. Steve Morse showing that he's such a wonderful guitarist with an amazing melodic solo that is just perfect and wonderful. The rest of the band also top form. This is a phenomenal song. Do yourself a favour and just listen to it. Just go on YouTube or Spotify, whatever you listen to, even if it's just the preview on Amazon. Well, no, that wouldn't really give you the full gist of this song. Really need to listen to the whole thing. It's a good 5-minute odd song. You really need to. It is just absolutely spectacular. Truly is a masterpiece. And then, after a song like Kayla, you wouldn't really think they could follow it up. But then we get to The Storm. And there's something very striking with this song. And that is actually quite dreadful. There's a really bad point about the song. And that is the lack of adjectives to describe its beauty, power and majesty. The chorus again, it's phenomenal, powerful. This should be the single. It just has everything a single from this band would need. I mean, it's just so good. Is this as good as Kayla? Hell yeah, it's as good. And everyone is on top form, just like on every other song on this album. It's just absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Then we get to Forever in a Daze. This song may not be quite as good as the songs before it, but I mean the songs before, wow, what a couple of songs they are. But hey, this song is still faultless and excels in every way. It has some especially nice keyboards and bass, and especially they really shine. I have to say this album, just as a whole, it certainly does sound like you can tell Neal Morse's influence on this album. It does have sort of Neal Morse sound. And also I think that the album, it's influenced, there is certainly a good Beatles influence in here. And that's probably because Neal Morse's and Mike Portnoy's, I'm pretty sure Mike Portnoy, but certainly Neal Morse's favourite band is the Beatles. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mike Portnoy, I'm sure he said about it on Twitter quite a few times, the favourite band is the Beatles. So it does have a Beatlesy vibe in here, which is, probably where they get some of the pop sensibility in here, but with the prog, and, it's certainly not a pop album by any means, but it's not exactly Dream Theater style prog metal, And then we get to Love Is What I'm Waiting For. Now this is probably the poppiest song on the album. Comes at a good 3:40, and with some, have some lovely acoustic guitar in it. And even though a pretty poppy love song with acoustic guitar may sound a little bit scary and frightening, it is a wonderful, and I think this has got good Queen influence, this song, Queen-esque song. There certainly is, I think, a Queen vibe in the verse and solos. Well, not as much in the solos. And again, another wonderful chorus, even if it is a really radio-friendly song, it's just brilliant. This should be the second single, I think. It's just really radio-friendly, really nice, happy song. And then we get to track 7, Everything Changes. And this could well be their magnus opus. All the adjectives I used for Kayla, they also apply to this song. But this song, it's proggier, it's longer, it's haunting, it truly is. It starts with Casey singing slowly and gentle music in the background to the, I would say, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds-esque verse at one point, only one verse, not all of them, up to the climax of music and chorus at the end. I mean, but how could I forget Steve Morse's sawing solo, or Dave's bass, or Neal's keyboard, or Portnoy's drums a bit, but I have to say they aren't quite that good in this song. They're not really anything special. They're pretty averagey, but still, a wonderful, beautiful song, and possibly my favourite song on the album, but I don't know, because it's such a strong album. Then we get to Better Than Walking Away. She's a gentle ballad that gently progresses, and I mean, it's just, you know, the consistency, it just should this one song just demonstrates the consistency and how good this album is. It's just one of those consistent, really solid songs. Great. And then we get to All Falls Down. It's quite a bit heavier than a few of the other tracks on the album, but again, a great track, has that great chorus you expect from the songs on this album. Everything's just so good. And then we get to Fall in My Heart. Now this is quite an interesting track because Mike Portnoy actually sings it. Now when I heard about this, I have to say, I was a bit sceptical. I mean, Mike Portnoy singing, I've heard a bit of his background vocals in Dream Theater, and it can be a bit dodgy at times. No offence, Portnoy. But I have to say, this is really well done. His voice really suits this song, which did surprise me. I mean, well done, Portnoy. Very, very strong track with great chorus where Casey comes in. And the verse, he sings the verse so well. It's surprising how well his voice suits it. I mean, you know, then it has a nice riff and Morse's, well, Steve Morse's even, fabulous guitar, so it's just really, really good song. And now last, but definitely not least, is Infinite Fire. And I had huge expectations for this song. That was simply because one thing I saw when the track listing was announced, and that was the time of 12 minutes and 2 seconds next to the name. And that was what got me excited, because I thought, wow, this is going to be some epic prog song. And you know what? I was not wrong. It is. It just is the culmination of everything on this album, with wonderful choruses and vocals from Casey, soaring skillful solos from Steve, excellent interesting keyboards from Neal. I think this is Neal's best keyboards on this album. Technical flawless bass from Dave, and the high standard of drumming I expect from the great Portnoy. It truly is a wonderful, wonderful conclusion to a fantastic album, and just a great song. And now, one thing I just would like to mention before I go to my conclusion is that I do admit that Portnoy is a bit restrained on this album, and we don't really see the DT style double kick gymnastics that we see on a Dream Theater song. But to be honest, would metal drumming have really suited things like Kayla and Everything Changes? No. But this isn't his best drumming. I'm never going to say it's not his best drumming. It's decent, it's competent, and in some parts really good drumming, but no, it's not his best. But in conclusion, this is the culmination of an extremely talented bunch of musicians, and it's a complete success. And also, Casey McPherson will be going places after this album. It's a truly unique, wonderful album, and it has to be the best so far I've heard all year, and easily a contender for Album of the Year. So I'm going to give this album a 9.5 out of 10. A wonderful, unique, just classic prog album that should go down in history. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to have got much publicity, but it should. It's just spellbinding. And they truly have passed with flying colours, and I hope they continue. I would definitely go and see them live if they toured. So, thanks for watching. This has been the Album Man. Comment, rate, subscribe, and bye.